Okay, everybody, here what I want to do here in this video is really go over what I think are I'm going to say the 9 real basics that you've got to be doing, I think, to effectively market your business. Now, obviously, you can't necessarily just jump into all of them. And on the other hand, I know that you're probably getting bombarded with either the people who want to do this for you, or you're reading blogs and you're reading magazines, and there's never really real continuity to what it is that all these things do, whether or not you use SEO, social media, mobile marketing. Where does it all fit in? And what I want to try to do in this video is to give you the overall context, and then you can start making better decisions about your marketing. So when you start out, one of the things that I'm going to kind of write on the board here, one of the things that we start talking about is there are 8 sort of basics, right? And you've probably heard about these 8 basics from either Jay Abraham. There's a gentleman I've studied under him named Richard Johnson. He does something that he calls hidden marketing assets. Right? The idea that what you want to do in hidden marketing assets is you want to, do everything you can to market your business without, lots of money on advertising. So that's what hidden marketing assets are about. But really, all these things that we're about to go over have been, I guess, a part of business probably ever since, companies have been marketing effectively, in particular, small companies. And so there's a systematic way. There's a systematic way. Sorry about that. There's a systematic way to look at this, and that's what I want to go over here in this video. Now, in these 8 basics, one of the first things that you'll hear is that you've got to have a USP. And really, USP is basically, what is it that about your product or your service that makes me want to come to you over and above everybody else? And I'm not talking about, a tagline. I'm not talking about a marketing slogan. I'm talking about how you do business. And, where is it that you fit in the marketplace? If you took marketing in college, then you probably came across the 4 P's, right? Price, product, position, right? Maybe place, and maybe the 5 P's, people, right? People. And all those things are really wrapped up in the USP, right? The USP basically says, what is it about the way you do business? What is it about what you're selling? What is it about what you are providing to the customer that makes me want to come to you over and above everybody else? What is it that you have? And is it something that I cannot easily copy, right? Because, if you're having success with it and it works for you, and I'm in the marketplace and it makes sense for me to do, and I'm your competitor, I'm going to do it. So you want to make sure that you've got something that's not necessarily easy to copy, something that they call barriers to entry in economics as well as in marketing. So USP is one of the first things you got to have. Second thing, I think Johnson calls this exponential marketing. You got to be able to do upsells and what's called lifetime value of the customer. In other words, what are you doing to make sure that you're getting every dollar out of me, your buyer, that you can? And are you doing everything you can to get it as soon as you can? In other words, if I come to your store 2 times a year versus 1 time a year, you're going to make more money. If you get me to take that second trip and make that second trip in, let's say, February instead of April, you make more money ultimately, because if you can get me to come in a second time and you get me to come in earlier, you might be able to get me to come in a third time. And so what you want to try to do is to give your buyers, people who have already bought from you, a reason to come back to you again and again. And effective marketing isn't just going out to get new customers. Effective marketing is, how do you sell to the people who have already bought from you and giving them the opportunity to buy from you over and over and over again. So we call that upsells, LTV. Others have called this exponential marketing. In other words, we're not marketing by addition, we're marketing by exponents, right? Because we're giving the people who've already bought from us the opportunity to buy over and over and over and again, an exponent. So Third thing is you want to have a mailing list or database. In other words, how are you contacting those people? Do you have a way so that when somebody comes to buy from you, or even if somebody becomes your prospect, are you able to get in contact with them so that you can continue to market to them? Whether you market to them by direct mail, whether you market to them by email, whether you market to them by text message, whether you market to them using a mobile app, you need to have a way. Right? You need to have a way of contacting. It's called contact databasing or email list, however you want to call it. It's a continual contact with somebody who walks in to do business with you or come to your site. You've got to be able to get from them something that allows you to contact them. Right? So a mailing list. The fourth thing that you should have, Abraham calls this alliances, strategic marketing alliances. Right? In other words, are you doing business with people and are you marketing along with people who are complimenting you, and at the same time that they can help you market your business while you help them market theirs. So you're not in competition with each other, but you're complementing. In other words, you've got a dentist, right? And he knows an orthodontist. Right, that orthodontist doesn't have to market as hard, or that orthodontist gets additional marketing because he's got a buddy, right, who's a dentist who's always going to send his patients over them when they need orthodontic work. Orthodontist is going to say, hey, you know what, before you can get started with me, you got to go to a dentist. Here's a guy I recommend. So you've got this synergy, and you've got people that you've got alliances with, strategic alliances, right? So who in your marketplace is a strategic partner, somebody who has the same customer that you have, but at the same time, though, isn't in your business and would benefit from you having them send customers to you and you sending customers to them. So alliances. So notice one thing that I like about all these things is that regardless of how you're doing business on the internet, right? It's not just about, getting into I'd say more internet marketing before you're doing these things, right? These are the things that need to be in place. These need to be part of your marketing. These need to be ongoing because these are the things that will maximize everything that you're doing online, right? So in other words, if you've got alliances, you can build, what are called affiliate relationships when you've got strategic marketing alliances. So those are four things you've got to have. The fifth thing, the media, right? Relationships. And surprisingly, even though this is kind of out of reach for a lot of small businesses to do consistently, the prices are coming down because they just don't have as many people who are using this kind of advertising because everybody's running to do it online, and it's still effective, right? People still watch television. There are going to be untold numbers of people who are going to be watching the Super Bowl, and these guys, these big companies are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars per second in order to be on there, and so media is still effective. So don't leave that out of your mix. Don't leave that out of your psyche. When you get a chance and you get an opportunity and you're able to get some media and do some advertising, you want to take advantage of it, whether it's newspaper, radio, or television. Sixth thing is that you want to also be out doing PR. And the thing about public relations is this, right? So it's not real advertising. It's kind of showcasing who you are without your having to advertise. So it's showing another part of you, another part of your company, but it gets your name out there, right? It's been said that you've got to have, and I'm going to kind of write this in here, you've got to have 7 touches, right? You got to touch the customer 7 times or in 7 different ways. And if you can do that, right, you can do that with PR. If you can be on the news, you can be in the newspaper, somebody writes a story about you, then that is an additional touch. It's another opportunity to get a chance to see your company, hear your name and what it is that you do. So PR, also community, right? You're out in the community. And whether or not you're doing, you could be doing charity. You can be giving seminars, which you should be. Right, and that might even fall under another category. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But you need to be out in the community, being of service, being of help. And what it does, you're not necessarily doing it just for just for your business. But yeah, you are, right? Because you wouldn't do it if you were not in business. So finding a way for you to be a blessing, for you to be a benefit to the community is a good thing for you and your business. Seventh thing is that you also, and this is kind of more of a way of doing business, it's called direct marketing. Right? I think that's the way Abraham talks about it. It's the way Johnson talks about it. And direct marketing is really one-to-one marketing. Right? So it's one-to-one. In other words, we're marketing so that the person really gets an opportunity to buy directly from us. Right? So we're sending postcard, direct mail. We're getting them to a squeeze page and a website where they can buy, and our messages to them, right? It's a direct message to them about how they can benefit. And this is where we get into the web and copywriting and some of those things. But basically, direct marketing is, hey, come buy from me, and I'm giving you an appeal. I'm giving you every reason in order to do that. It's more of a philosophy than it is a particular way, but you don't want to leave that out of your marketing mix. And then 8, of course, is internet, right? Internet marketing. You got your website, you've got your social media, you've got search, now you've got mobile, right? So you've got all those things. You've got, blogging, right? That's actually kind of social. You got video. All those things are part of the internet, and you can start to think that all these things are all encompassing, right? That if you're not doing all those things, that you're probably missing out. But really, internet marketing is probably 1/8 of what you have to be doing, right? These other things are things that you've got to have in place, whether or not you're doing great and gangbusters on the internet. Now, you've got to be, you've got to have a website, right? You've got to have all those things. But these are the 8 things or 9 things that you've got to be, 8 things that you've got to be doing. Now, I said 9 because there's another thing that I want to kind of include in here at number 9 that the internet has made for us, and that's what we call now information marketing. Right? Right? The buzzword is content marketing. I don't really like that word because it really, content marketing is not a two-way conversation. So it's not about what I'm putting in to my content that makes you make decisions. I mean, I like to change it from content marketing. I like to call it actionable intelligence. In other words, I'm giving you intelligence to help you to make a decision. I'm giving you intelligence to make the right decision, which is hopefully that you'll buy what it is that I'm selling, right? And that's what you got to do as a marketer. You've got to give people actionable intelligence, stuff that's really going to help them in their lives, to give them the intelligence that they need in order to make the good decisions that they need to make, right? The decisions they need to make in order to make a good buying decision. So these are the things that you've got to have, and every business has got to be doing these things. And really and truly, even if you're an online business and you're not doing all 8 of these things, you don't have them integrated into your business, you can still benefit, right? You can still benefit even if you are at the top of your game. Even if you are excelling, and even if you are a brick and mortar business and you're moving online, you got your video going, you got your website, you're getting traffic. If you expand into, let's say, and you do better, right? If you can do 5% more, right? Getting your existing customers to buy. One of my friends, Steve Rosenbaum, he does a course, and he does something that he calls past customer reactivation. He does something that he calls sales CPR. In other words, how do you get existing customers to buy? How do you jumpstart your business when you don't have any sales? Well, you can go to your existing customers as long as you have, a mailing list, right? As long as you've been in contact with them, as long as you have a way of contacting with them, you can get your business jump started. Okay, so these are the 9 basic things that you really do have to have in your business, in operation, if they're really going to be, you're going to be kind of at the top of your game in terms of marketing. Okay, so thank you. What I want you to do, of course, is get ready for our next video. You can do that by subscribing. Right here on my channel. Our mission and our goal is to make this the most reliable a source of marketing information. I'm not here to sell you anything. Of course, we'll always give you opportunities to buy as an affiliate. However, listen, the basis of this channel, and I don't want you to tune out on me. Just kind of want you to hear me right here. The basis of this channel is I'm not going to do videos. The point of my videos is not to create a desire for you to sell, and I could do that. Right, there are psychological tricks for me to be able to do that. There's a way for me to structure my presentation for you to do that. I'm not going to make my videos so that you buy. That's not the point of the videos. The point of the videos is to give you actionable intelligence, stuff you can use. Now, I want, naturally, yes, I want you to when I have an affiliate product and I give you something that you have an opportunity and you need it, yeah, I want you to get it from me. But even if you don't, the point of this channel is to help you in your marketing, and you can take, the stuff that I'm showing you and use it in your business, and for you to be able to kind of implement, and you can do that. So with that, thank you again. Remember, hit subscribe, share this video with a small business owner that you think could benefit, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thanks.